until I grow up out of here.
Oh, okay. You trying to go to Africa, man?
Africa,
Ghana? Accra?
the capital city.
Accra, Ghana. That's my goal here.
Heck yes.
I want
Always.
Man, I'm trying to get in the
I heard,
group.
but once you get there, you may not want to come back. Cause it's just, it's crazy beautiful in every shape of the way. But yeah, when you talking about going to Africa?
October.
Next year?
Yeah, 2018.
That sounds like a plan, man.
Yeah, man, I want to get into group travel. Now, what I have is I have an idea that with Patreon, right? Now, Patreon is for artists, and it's supposed to help you develop the venture capital so that you can focus on creativity rather than, like you said, paying bills. So this is what I came up. I've been running this idea by a couple people, and this is the idea. Tell me what you think. All right. So with Patreon, you can create the amount of money that you want people to pledge, right, on a monthly basis, right?
Right.
All right.
They get an option: $1, or $3, $10.
Okay. Yeah. So what we do is we all using the people that I introduced to this program. We have at least 3 options, and that's a $2 option, a $3 option, and a $6 option. Okay. Now, what I do is, if I'm gonna help you get set up with my system, and when I help you get set up, what I want to do is I want to take you on as a client. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invest in becoming your first Patreon, and I'm gonna pay $3 a month. So I'm gonna sign up under your $3 a month. So you got a Patreon that's supporting you, your first one. So in return, because I'm introducing you to this program and I'm mentoring you, you're gonna pay me $6. You're gonna support my $6 program. What that does is allow the person who's leading to be able to double their profit. So they acquire somebody that they can now assist in this venture with, but they're also now doubling their product. So that one person now, they're making $3 a month. Now, when they're going to work with that person to continue to help them build their Patreon following, because that's one of the most challenging parts of the Patreon thing is you got to build a following. All right. Now the thing is, once you got your following, those people are paying every month. So you want to get up to about 100 people a month. You know what I mean? And if you got, if you got $5 a month coming from those people, that's $500 a month. You know what I mean? So the person that you help, the next person that you help get involved, they're gonna give you $2. They're gonna sign up for your $2, support you $2. So everybody will end up spending $8 a month, but everybody will end up doubling their profit every month for every person that becomes a Patreon. You see what I'm saying?
So the money kind of cycles.
Exactly. So as long as you are always making more money than you're spending, you're always going to be profiting. See what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter if you're supporting 20 people, they're paying you double. You see what I'm saying? So, and you're going to get a bonus off of everybody that they enroll too. So everybody they enroll going to pay you a bonus of $2 a month. So if everybody do like 10 people, which everybody going to do more than 10. But let's say everybody does 10 people, that's an extra $20 a month that you're getting, and it's an extra 20 supporters that you have on, that's associated with your Patreon page. You see what I'm saying? So we building your following at the same time as we building the people who you're supporting. You see what I'm saying? So you're gonna look good. You supporting all these people, and all these people are following you. You know what I mean? And so, and then what you do is you just simply offer whatever you want to your Patreons. So if you're in the t-shirt business, you say, my Patreons that have contributed 6 months in a row, I'll give you a complimentary t-shirt. You know what I mean? Or you know, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Or you can just give them a discount, you know, 20% off for my Patreons who pay $3 a month, or you know what I mean, whatever you want to offer. You know,
yeah, that makes sense. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, putting people on, man. Then what the goal is that we help everybody we can make $1,000 extra a month, extra $1,000 a month. So that's 200 Patreons, okay, at an average of $5 a month. So you get an extra $1,000 a month. Life going, like, you know, it's not making you rich, but life is getting richer. You know what I mean?
Life is looking okay.
Yeah, like life is better. You could take that trip to Africa or Rio or you know, wherever you want to go. All you got to do is take the.
You work that way, you can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, just $1,000 will make a big change in people's lives. Yeah. So, and it's something that I think everybody can do because it's on Patreon. You don't have to do nothing special, you know. So, you know, everybody become profitable. Another thing I think that me and you, we have probably in common too, as we're more like, we're artists, but we're student of life too. So like I heard you were saying that you would want to include a spiritual element or spiritual educational element to your, you know, to your constituency as a part of your program. And of course, that's what I do too. You know, you know, just in this last year, I've learned a significant amount, specifically in the Bible. I've also committed a lot more time in researching the Bible and putting historical context behind it, and I've come up with a drastically different perspective. You know, you know what I'm saying? And but it's all proven in the Word, so it's all everything that what I basically is that, you know, we talked about the deception before in our life, you know, in previous conversations in the past, you know, and how, you know, this society is deception based, you know what I mean? And so with that said, I mean, that's what's going on, is a great deception where most of the world is being deceived by a great deceiver, right? But the great deceiver, of course, is not who you think it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to make itself obvious. So it's for people who actually really read the Word and see the details, the devil in the details. You know what I mean? And but ultimately, it's given us. You can read it from the conqueror's perspective, or you can read it from the indigenous perspective. But it's up to you as a free person which perspective that you accept, you know, and how you apply the principles in your life, you know. So, you know,
I can dig it.
You can dig it. What's your thoughts on that? Where have you, how would you say your spiritual growth has occurred in the last year or so?
Ooh.
Where, you know, what have you, because I know, you know, I mean, artists, you know, I'm sure you've evolved a lot in the last year or so. As a, you know, what kind of spiritual development have you feel like you've seen in the last year or so?
Wow. Well, man, that's a conversation that probably need to be recorded.
Well, I told you I started doing a hangout. So when you that time when I guess when we stopped, we paused, I started the hangout. So I think I've been on air for about 5 minutes.
Nah.
You don't know what to say? So, I mean, all right. So how would you describe this year, man? How was this year? You turned 40 this year, right? You turned 40?
Yeah.
Congratulations, brother. That's an accomplishment in these days, man.
Well, I mean, it's a matter of perspective on that. But manifestation, I think that's where I'm at with when it comes to spirituality.
Okay. I think that's where I'm at right now too.
Understanding that everything is energy,
and
that energy has the potential to become material.
Yeah, and the process of doing that.
What do you mean?
What's the process of manifestation? How do you make the intangible a reality?
That's some secret information that I'm gonna have to kind of keep for that page. So this is some good stuff.
So you said so you know it and you don't reveal it. You don't want to reveal it.
Oh, that because it's power.
Huh?
It's power, and it. You know, like I said, I need to be able to use it and work before I can teach somebody or even speak on it.
So you saying that you saying so
that does exist.
So are you saying that you know this is knowledge you still testing, or are you saying this is knowledge that you come to know?
I'm just understanding potential energy and how to connect and take that potential energy and manifest it in my reality.
So what is it that you want to manifest next in your reality? What's your next big objective?
A physical building, bricks and mortar, with retail space, studio, gallery space. Selling about $30,000 to $40,000 of material, T-shirts, all things geared towards apparel and creativity. Now, that's the thing. How I want to manifest that. I'm going to manifest that. The problem is the time loop. How do I get this present, or how do I get this future into the present? Not just in thought, not just in vision, not just in potential energy, but actual physical reality. Now that's where the power lies. Because a lot of people can speak on what they know, this and that and other. Knowledge is not power in the real universe.
Applied knowledge
is just information.
Not applied knowledge is though. Knowledge that you apply So you have the knowledge, and when you apply that knowledge, now it is actually being transformed into real energy.
Okay.
But the process.
I'm talking about real power, bro. I'm talking about when I think of something, it's right there.
Yeah,
you ever seen the movie Jumpers?
No.
You never seen the movie Jumpers?
No, I don't think so.
Check it out. It's a guy. He has his power, but the power comes out some traumatic way where he almost drowned, and those emotions he was able to channel, and he actually teleported into another space and time. It was a current space and time, but he was able to teleport. Once he realized that gift and was conscious of it, he could look at pictures and immediately he could transport there. That's what type of power I'm talking about.
I think that we have that power in a sense, like for an example, like before I go to a destination as an artist, you'll see it in this this video I'm doing. I paint the place that I want to go, place sceneries there. And that is the power which you're talking about, like the part of manifestation. The first part is take the idea from the ethers, from your mind, and then put it on paper. So that paper is putting it into the reality. Then that plan, and now you break the plan down into goals and objectives, and then each objective, is an action. So now you're acting in accordance to what was in your idea, and each action is leading to the result, the end destination. You see what I'm saying? So for an example, the Olympics was for me a major test in my life. For that, a testament is at first it seemed like a larger life thing to do, but then once you do it in retrospect, you realize that this was just something that like anything else that you simply plan and mobilize yourself for, but it was a travel in time and space, you know what I mean? Because now you're in a different time zone, you're in a different space. Nobody knows who you are, nobody. You don't know the language. So it's almost like being in another world. And it is, So, I'm pretty sure Africa is going to be like that. When we go to Africa, we're going to go ahead, probably about 12 hours, 12, 13 hours. But it's likely, since we're going into a new time zone, we'll gain about 6 to 8 hours back. So in reality, that's time traveling, So when you think about it, go from here to Rome took 8 hours. But and when you get to Rome, it's 6 hours ahead. So you really just lost 2 hours. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And you're existing in in a lot of times an ancient world that's still existing today. So it's called the old world in technical. You know what I mean? In history, that's the old world that you revisit in the past, but it's part of your reality. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like time traveling, going back in time. And, so I feel what you're saying, man. I'm all with that. The same thing, man. Manifestation is definitely the lesson, I think, of 2017, man. Also, as far as culturally, I think as a what's your point of view as a 40-year-old African American man? What do you think how has being a black man shaped you as a 40-year-old man? What kind of perspective would you give to to the young generation as far as what to look out for, what you would have done differently, up to this point?
I would say this: all is thought. All is thought. I'm here today where I'm at with circumstances because of how I thought when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. And those behaviors resulted in me being a young father. And I could no longer think creatively. I had to respond to my parental role and responsibility. I could no longer think for myself. I thought for other people or what I had to do to provide for those other people. And at that point, you become a slave. Whereas a creator, you create your reality, through your thoughts. So if your thoughts aren't in the right place, your reality ain't gonna be in the right place. And over time, your body is going, and your circumstances gonna reflect that. So I can never go back in and blame my parents. They would have been nice if they taught me how to think. You have to teach your children how to think, or else society will. If your son is thinking about sex all the time because all he sees is sex, and your dad ain't telling him, you stay with sex, and you go out there and have sex and you become pregnant, you're subject to all the harsh violence as a young parent at an early age.
How important is sex, do you think, in a relationship? And do you think that we dwell too much on sex, or do you think that that's something that's very important, very vital?
It depends on the level of consciousness. I mean, when you're coming together with a woman in marriage and y'all want at home, marriage from a career standpoint is more important than sex. Sex from a creative standpoint, the energy that you're conscious of, that becomes more relevant than, the outcome pleasure. But sometimes you have to fast for that. And I'm starting to learn sex as a creative force, as a creative energy, can be transmuted. Where sex being the most creative force in the universe, it brings forth actual life. We can use that same creative power to manifest things in our reality.
That's interesting.
So as far as sex, I think we need to abstain from it as much as possible.
You said abstain from it as much as possible?
Yeah. Until we understand the authority and the power behind it as not something just sensual and big on pleasure, but as a creative that can be transferred, that can be channeled, into a creative force, not just bringing forth children, but shaping our reality.
So what do you think, what else can we bring forth through sex?
What else? I mean, again, you're talking about energy.
Sure.
And when you take the faces off of sex, and you just look at it from an energy perspective, you want to be conscious of where you transmit that energy to. As a man, you don't want to transmit that energy into a dead cell that's not going to do anything with it. That's the seed falling on unfertile soil. So that's the creative seed. So, but if you could take that seed in a mental standpoint and cast it on fertile soil, mentally and spiritually, you can bring forth the same creativity that sex has as far as bringing forth a new life. You can use that creative force to bring forth art, a new genre of expression. So I think our society uses the sex potential for dead works. And I think it specifically targets the black man because he has the highest sex potential or creative potential on this planet. And we can go deep into that.
Yeah, we can go deep in that. The real deep. What I was, I don't know if this is too deep or not. You can let me know. But it's pretty profound. When we think of, I was Chance called, text me one day, and it was like he texted me a verse from Malachi. So I like to read the whole chapter. Malachi is only 4 chapters, very short chapters, and get an idea exactly what the whole story is all about. And then I end up coming across a line where it was saying that the messenger was going to come judge those who turned their backs on the alien. The actual word alien was in the Bible. Huh?
What was the word?
Alien. A-L-I-E-N. Alien. That's Malachi. It's in Malachi chapter 3, I believe, verse 15. But the word alien appeared, right? Mm-hmm. And I've been saying that this was and I've been doing a thorough study of the Old Testament. So I went through Genesis, Exodus. I even I recorded audio. I read it and do the analysis on the audio. But it's about basically an alien invasion. But we think when people think of alien, they think of sci-fi fictionary movies, and they thinking like E.T. But that's not what the definition of an alien is. That's the definition of an extraterrestrial, but not an alien. The definition of an alien is simply a foreigner or stranger or strange, someone who's of a different kinship, who's from a different nation or nationality. All right. So Christopher Columbus was in fact, F-A-C-T, in fact, an alien to the native people here. And not only that, he was an invader. That's exactly what he did. He invaded their territory. Okay, so I actually, I went to Rome and Spain, so I actually followed the footsteps of the Visigoths.
Who?
The Visigoths. The Goths.
No. Elaborate.
Oh, a lot. Oh, well, they conquered Rome and they end up conquering Spain. But when they
sounds like the Moors.
Well, no, the Moors were the African conquerors. They conquered Spain, but the Goths conquered Spain from the Moors. So they the ones that took the Spain back from the Moors, and then Queen Isabella took the and her husband took it back from the Goths. But they were basically barbarians that were basically a tribal of barbarians that were mercenaries for Rome, and they were able to live inside Rome, and then they end up having a conflict with Rome, so they end up tearing it down. And then so they're the ones that brought down Rome, and then they end up being pushed more to the west, and that's how they got into Spain. But they end up, when they conquered Spain, they end up becoming the Hispaniols, right? That's what their name were. The Portuguese and the Spanish together are called the Hispaniols. They then end up taking the skills that they learned from the Moors and also from wars, you know what I'm saying? Their own knowledge of war against the Romans and against the barbarians and the Huns and all that kind of stuff. And they basically conquered the whole West. Now, these people they think to this day that the world, they only started counting their calendar years started 2,000 years ago, right? And they thought the world was flat when everybody else had, they was building the pyramids in accordance to the stars. So that means that we knew that the solar system cycled. They knew that the sun, the night and day, meant that the Earth circles. So the human beings on this planet knew information for thousands of years that these people didn't know just 500 years ago, until the Moors cultivated these people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have pyramids, when we know that on every continent, other than maybe Australia, there's a pyramid. You know what I'm saying? There's pyramid in Central South America. I just took the kids to the pyramids in North America. There's a whole bunch of pyramids in Illinois, and then there's some in the Grand Canyon. So and there's some in China. So there's pyramids. There was a pyramid revolution going on, but it obviously wasn't. They weren't participating in that. So even in the story in the Bible, it's telling you all the stories in the Bible. If you look at Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel, but Cain went out with the protection of God, and he found a wife in the land of Nod, and he ended up having a child named Enoch, and built a city named Enoch. And then they had another son named Seth. Seth had a son who had 2 wives. You see what I'm saying? So it tells you that they're finding women from other tribes. And what they were doing is doing the same thing what they were doing here in Pocahontas. They would come over, they would slaughter the tribes of men. And the example of the story in the Bible is the story of Dinah and Shechem, the Hivites. Jacob, he fell in love with one of Jacob's sisters, Jacob's daughter, Simeon, Levi's sister. And they wanted, Shechem wanted her for his wife. He was a prince, an honorable man, the Bible says. But they dealt with Jacob. Jacob and his people, his brothers, were deceptive. And the people, everybody that they dealt with, they deceived, and everybody dealt with them humanely, like human beings. So Shechem was saying, look, if you let me marry your daughter, I will let you guys come into the land. Me and my father let you come live in our land, and you can take of our women, and we'll take of your women. We'll become one people. So they said, well, we can't quite do that unless you do circumcision. You guys all get circumcised. Then we can consider that. So Shechem was like, okay, let's do it. So he made all the men, all the Hivites, to get circumcised. On the 3rd day, Levi and Simeon went in there, the men. Then they rounded up the women, and they told the women to take all their foreign gods and their jewelry off, and gave them Jacob, and Jacob buried it under the timber tree. And that's a play on the tree of life. The tree of life is being forbidden. You know what I mean? Because it was a foreign god. It was an Egyptian symbol of life. You know what I mean? Of procreation. But anyway,
that's crazy.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind that they're guarding the tree, guarding you from the tree of knowledge and the tree of life. And the reason why they're guarding you, the Bible says, from the tree of knowledge is because if you get the tree of knowledge, if you get knowledge, then you're going to want to take part of life. You're going to want to take part of the tree of life. So that's why when Eve consumed the fruit, it said her eyes were open. But previously, just 2 sentences before, it says that she was able to see that the fruit was good for food, and it made one wise, right? So she's seen that the fruit was good. So it's telling you that she was able to see with her eyes, that she wasn't blind. But now that she ate the fruit, it says her eyes were open. So what it's saying is she became conscious, or she became aware. And just like a woman is supposed to do, if you become conscious of something, you're supposed to share that with your husband. You see what I'm saying? If it's eye-opening, and she did that, just that. So she wasn't cursed. If you look in the word, it doesn't say that she was cursed. The person that was just telling her what was going to happen now that she got this information, which was about sexual relations. So the authority figure just told her that she was going to conceive in pain, which is a fact of life. Conception, having a child, is painful. And that her desire will be for her husband, which is another thing that happens to a woman after she has sex. is that she now desires her husband. So she becomes basically subservient to her husband. That's what he was telling her. And but the point is that they were then now unfit to be in the garden. They were not, you know what I'm saying? They had knowledge, and knowledge makes you unfit to be a slave. Okay, so now they had to go out and get their own. Just like your son and your daughter, if they're in your house, once they have sex, it's time for you to go get your own crib. You know what I'm saying, my man? It's time for you to get you a job. You too grown for my house. So Adam and Eve, they went out and they had children. Okay, but that bloodline was ill. You know it because Cain killed Abel out of jealousy. They were trying to please God. Okay, and that jealousy is perpetuated through every story. You know, every brother had an issue with his other brother. You think about Ishmael and Isaac. They had a problem. Joseph was sold into slavery by his 12 brothers. You know, just every story is going to have a conflict between two brothers. Even Moses, and you know, they had an error problem. You see what I'm saying with the Pharaoh of Egypt. There's always going to be a brother and brother conflict. So that's why you see the Hutu versus the Tutsi, the Sunni versus the Shiite, the Republican versus the Democrat. It's always going to be brother versus brothers, white man versus the black man, you know. So the Bible is giving you a lot of underlying hidden cues about the world that we're living in and how it functions. People, I think it's more literal than what it is, you know.
Well, I mean, it has its points for it.
Yeah, but ultimately,
those are just intros.
Huh?
I mean, I said those are just intros.
Yeah, they are.
Most of the Bible is astrological.
Yeah. It is. It's definitely got a lot to do with that, the astrology.
When I talk about astrology, I'm talking about most of it is spiritual, and it's dealing with energy.
It's spells.
It's talking about Cain and Abel. It's talking about positive energy, negative energy.
Yes.
And how one can attach themselves to a certain energy that may draw them into certain behaviors.
Oh yeah, it's actually spells. I mean, if you think about the first miracle Moses did was he turned the what what he did was he turned his shaft into a serpent. And so the second thing he did was, remember, God told him to put his hand into his bosom, and then he put his hand in his bosom and it turned white as a leopard, white as snow. And then he pulled it out, and God said, put it back. So he put it back in, and it returned back to his original flesh. So that's a little indication too. They left that out the movie because that means Moses would have to been black in order to do that. But you know, the third thing that he did was he turned water into blood. Well, you know, that was the Old Testament where they actually, you know, sacrificed lambs. Okay, because Abraham was from Mesopotamia, the domesticators of sheep. All right, so he practiced a religion that was foreign to Africans, and you know that because it was foreign to the Egyptians, and it was foreign to his wife, Moses' wife, Zipporah, whose father was a priest in Midian. So when she had to sacrifice her son, circumcise her son, she cut the flesh and threw it at Moses and said, "You are a husband of blood to me. You are a husband of blood." So that right there give you an indication that this is about, you know, the circumcision is about getting blood, just like I said in the last Shechem and the Hivites. And Moses is, you know, like even it transferred into the New Testament in a different metaphor. So Christ is basically like Moses, the story of Moses and the story of Joseph combined. And Christ, his first miracle is he turned water into wine. But the clergy, the church, turned wine into symbolism of blood. So to this day, people still eat the body of the lamb and eat the drink the blood of the lamb. They just use wine as the metaphor for the blood and the cracker as the metaphor for the body. So they still practice the same blood, the Mesopotamian blood sacrifice, based religion. But it's in a whole new form. So people really can't really tell what they're doing. But every time they take a sip of juice, they're practicing in the tradition of the old ancient rituals of sacrificing a lamb and drinking its blood. And so what I'm saying is ultimately, the Bible is got a lot of spiritual. I mean, they're casting spells. That's what he did. I mean, he caused flies to come into Egypt. He caused frogs. These are spells. You know what I mean? These are things that is basically, if you think about it, it's very, very deep. You can compare it very, 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 very deeply. The story of Joseph, for example, is a story of central banking. He bankrupted Egypt. And the reason why he bankrupted Egypt is because the bloodline of Abraham is trying to stake claim of the pride lands of the world. So the pride lands of the world was Canaan because it was the trade routes. It's the most valuable trade land of the old world because you had to go through Canaan to get from Europe to Africa, to get from Europe to Asia, to get from Africa to Asia, to get from Africa to the Saudi Arabia or to India. So it was the central place for trade. So that's the number one place you want to go for economics. And that's why Israel right now is the central place for Jewish people now who run the economics of the world. Also, we worship their God, the Lord of the children of Israel. So they got the two most important spiritual domains on the planet Earth, which is people believe in our God, our concept of God, and people are using our money system. And that is all being controlled right there from Israel. And so that's the reason why they needed that. And then Egypt is the historical pride land. It's the pride land of the knowledge of civilization. Down at there, that's where all the knowledge of Africa was consolidated and applied to create basically the USA of those ages. You know what I mean? And so basically, that's what the Bible is saying. It's saying that the people of Canaan are cursed and the people of Israel are blessed, the Hebrew. And it even tells you in the Revelations that it's going to be a synagogue of Satan, the deceivers who pose themselves as being the Jews and they're not. So that's part of the clue that they're telling you. But basically, Joseph went into he interpreted the Pharaoh's dream, and he said it's going to be 7 years of prosperity, 7 years of famine. Now that's just like Wall Street, where they're predicting your futures. Okay. And what he did was he's saying he taxed the Egyptian people during the prosperous years. He taxed them. So he took grain from them. So then during the famine years, when the people ran out of food, he basically charged them for the food that he taxed them from. So he charged them for the rations, but the first year they ran out of money. So they go back and he said, well, the money has failed us. We have no more money. You have all our money. Once you take our livestock, at least we sit here and starve to death. So Joseph gave them bread for their livestock. Keep in mind, he gave them bread, which is a metaphor, because you wouldn't change your livestock, a cow, for bread in real life. But so it's a metaphor. Anyway, they the next year it came back and they said, okay, you have our money, you have our livestock. We have nothing else but our land and ourselves. Once you buy our land and ourselves, keep that in mind. They're selling themselves voluntarily in slavery, and at least we die. Okay. So Joseph, okay, he said, okay, if you have no more money, you have no more livestock, then I'll take your land, and with your land comes you. So he said he bought him on behalf of the Pharaoh. Now the Pharaoh is a representation of government. It just means government. So he basically bought the people and the land and their livestock, and they own the money all on behalf of the Pharaoh, which he's the governor of. So he controls it all. It says he becomes the governor of Egypt. This is all Genesis, by the way. Keep that in mind, like the whole right after the story of creation. But anyway, he ends up having the people voluntarily sell themselves into slavery. And then he establishes that the priests don't need to pay taxes because they didn't have to borrow from the Pharaoh during the famine time. So that's the reason why the church doesn't pay taxes. But the people pay taxes, and they pay taxes for their wages, but only enough wages to continue to be able to provide their services to the government. So once he consolidated the power to the government, Exodus is he's taken down the government, right? So Moses' job is to come back in now, take down the Pharaoh, right? Because he's already now consolidated the power. See, and I already knew that when I was finishing Genesis 50. I knew I was like the sequel, and this story is now, and I actually recorded that. And I said, Moses' job is now, the power has been consolidated to the government, is to take over the government. And that's exactly what Exodus is about. It's about Moses went in there and caused conflict. The people didn't even want him to do it. But this was something that he felt that God had instructed him to do. And so it's very, 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 very powerful. But it's telling you about an alien invasion of people from Mesopotamia. And those are, if you look at that, those are what we call the Semitic people. They call, if you look up Hebrew, and if you look up the definition of Hebrew, it says the Northern Semitic people, Semitic people. They were not Kemetic, which means that they were not black people. They were Caucasus people. Because if you look up the word Semitic, it means Northern Caucasian people. So all the brothers walking around talking about they were Hebrew, I don't know. I don't know if they're being accurate. The Hebrew is a Caucasian. It was a foreigner in Egypt. That's why they were treated differently. Now, the thing about it is, over time, as the Hebrew and the Egyptians mixed over time, just like they did with the Greeks, they became kind of all like one people. They started looking like Stephen Curry, basically. You know what I mean? They looked like Barack Obama. They were mixed. And so now you had some Egyptians and some Hebrew people that would look alike, but because they were from totally different backgrounds, they would you know what I'm saying? They were different. They were different how they were born, the traditions, what they ate, how they worship. That's what made the difference between a Hebrew. Hebrew just meant a foreigner. It was like a person from the north who's not Egyptian. It's like us saying we calling everybody who's visiting United States a foreigner. You know what I'm saying? And they got foreign beliefs. See what I'm saying? But ultimately, the earth is being invaded by a new species of man. And our species, we actually got that bloodline in us, so we can't even really say that. But the African species and the Aboriginal species they're trying to wipe them out. They're trying to wipe us out too, historically, so that we don't perpetuate that history of slavery into the future. But so like when you at work, count all the Africans at work and then count yourself. People like yourself. You got, where you work at now? You got a part-time job?
Yeah, I work a little security.
All right, so you pretty much, it's not like you interact a lot of other employees?
I mean, I see a lot of African people around where I live.
Yeah, I'm just saying, in the workplace, the black man is a super minority, definitely compared to It's probably like, I think it's maybe 3 of us, 3 African American, 3 or 4 African Americans of us, and the rest, like I'm telling you, it's like, man, it's like 40 Africans, man.
So what you think that means?
So that means the African American man that is the child of the lineage of the diaspora. We are a special people. We are a special tribe of people. And we're being annihilated through the systematic process of incarceration, criminal system, the lack of economics. So we're being cut off from economics so that we don't have the money to buy the equipment, to pave roads, and we can't, imagine how much you need to buy a crane to build a building. You know what I mean? Bulldozers. Where you gonna get the finance to start a factory so that you can make shoes or whatever you're gonna do? Whatever you need to do is gonna take an enormous amount of startup capital, licensing costs, registration, certifications. And they know that we have no access to capital like that. Matter of fact, if you do get access to capital, they're gonna want to know where the hell you got it from. They're gonna be like, this is weird. Where the heck you get it from, buddy? Where you get $100,000 to start your business, sir? So.
But that's not how I think.
Okay, how you think?
I mean, anybody can think the way they want to think and see what they want to see. I see.
What you think? How you think?
I don't see a lot of African Americans per se or black people. I mean, where are they?
That's what I'm saying.
Where they go?
We're being diffused, bro. That's what I'm saying.
But give me an example of who you know that's being diffused.
Who do I know is what?
That's being diffused, or whatever you said.
I'm saying that the children of the diaspora, the African American people, the male, specifically the male, is being annihilated. It's being attacked. What they're trying to do is make sure our birth.
I see when I look at the news, I see black dudes killing black dudes.
No, but see, that's systematic. That's the reason why we're seeing it that way. People always kill within their proximity. But a lot of that, the enemy is always going to set it up to where you think the Hutu and the Tutsis are fighting each other. But we really know that if you do your research, we know that they were fighting over coating, because the outside people came in and seen the tribe lands needed to acquire that somehow. So they need to put somebody in power that they can do business. But they put this person in power who impose affliction on another people. So now that starts a war. They just put brother against each brother. That's what I'm telling you that the Bible's about. It's brother being placed against brother. So when we look in Chicago, a lot of people look at Chicago and say, oh, brothers is killing each other. No, those is turf wars. Those is battles that they start. And a lot of times they'll go in and they'll take out the top man and then make a whole bunch of dudes fight over the territory on purpose to kill each other off, to subdue dudes. Dudes is getting too fat. Dudes is making too much money or whatever the problem is. Just look at Bill Cosby tried to do something. They tried to take him down. Michael Jackson bought Sony. They killed him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how many examples do you want? You know what I mean? If you have an uprising.
How do you know that?
What do you mean? How do I know that? What are you saying?
Do you know that for absolutely sure? And if you're the only one know, how come there's nothing being done about it?
All right. What do you mean?
I mean, there's enough black people that have got more power than you.
No.
That are more intelligent, the more sophisticated, got more money to really do something. Why would you?
They're not going to do nothing. Even Barack Obama, what is he going to do? What are you going to do? I know. That's what I'm saying. They're not going to.
The responsibility of the niggas that's killing each other is their responsibility to change themselves.
No. All right. So this look, bro. You can become a killer real easy, bro. If you're hungry, and your kids is hungry, your baby hungry, you hungry, your wifey hungry, and she yelling at you talking about you ain't shit. You can't find a job because nobody will hire you. You have no opportunity, but you got to get diapers because your baby's shitting on herself.
I've been there.
You can rob, man. People, you can turn any man into a robber if there's no if you add too much pressure on them. So I'm telling you, me and you, we barely making it out ourselves, and look how much effort we put into trying to stay clean. You know what I'm saying? So every brother ain't gonna have all the same background, the same parental background, the same discipline, the same. So a lot of brothers are gonna fall to the wayside. They're gonna fall if we say no to the drug game. There's a lot of brothers gonna say yeah to the drug game, and then out of that, what percentage of those is gonna get caught up? A lot.
But then you got some dudes who ain't gotta do that. And then you got
who? Why would they do it if they ain't got to?
I acknowledge that there's a power out there that is shaping and engineering our society.
Yeah.
But I also know that there's a power within Black people that if we can create a thought base, a power base for ourselves intellectually, that we can change some things. In the physical reality, in the spiritual reality, and we can go to war.
Why hasn't it happened though?
That's what you got to ask yourself. It's a lot of intelligent individuals out here. They probably are. What we have to do,
I'm gonna tell you why.
Is concern ourselves with our reality.
Like
I said, if you go to one of these clubs and you step on somebody's shoe, and one of these cats push you, and one of these cats pull a gun, I mean, it does all the knowledge and information about what's going on in society changes is complete.
Yeah, but that is different. That's a micro situation. It's big, but what I'm saying is that's a cultural thing. It's because the boys have been taught to value material things greater than life.
But at the same time, man, you know. We all come from some type of struggle.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care if you choose the right path, and you go into corporate America, you're gonna have some stress. If you choose the street, you're gonna have some stress.
Yeah, I've seen.
Hey, I want to be family life, and you're gonna have some stress. But anyway, you can't escape that.
Jay, it's in the doctrine. It's in the doctrine. So it's every human being is like a computer. Our brains have an operating system in it. And the way we operate is how we value our lives, what we think about what happens to our life after death, what we call deities, what we think is important, what we value in life. That's all the operating system. A lot of times now our operating system in our brain has programmed us to have an intuition to not trust a black person, because we were made to be slaves for the white person. So we see the slave.
Yeah, it's not your first attempt to get out of that reality.
But it's hard. So when I came out the bathroom, for an example, and I say to my wife, I said, "Hey, I just came up with an idea where, I can support you for $3. You can support me for $6, and then I can help you find somebody that will support you for $6, right? And we will double our profit for everybody to get involved. Nobody will lose money. Everybody will double their profits, and grow will follow." The first thing they say is, people are gonna be like, "No, I don't like the idea of having to talk to other people." You see what I'm saying? And you go to the next person, they say something very similar. You go to the next person, because the thing is, our intuition, when it says to talk about money, we don't think other black people are valid enough to talk about it.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. The power is not trying to convince people that what you have in stock is best for them. The objective is to draw them to you so you don't have to work. See, that is just the thing. You could build a marketing tool, or you could go out and do the marketing and convince somebody that your product. Or you can create such a fabulous product that it markets itself. Now, here's the thing about you. You want somebody to believe in you without you wholeheartedly going hard and believing in yourself. That's where the energy is. I can't convince anybody that my church is better than anybody else. You got to see that, experience that for yourself. I can talk about it all I want. I'm a great test, you know, but the bottom line is your product has to show approve before people really support. And when you try to start with family, you got to understand that's going to be, you know, very limited.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I agree with that as far as the reality. But the thing is that to succeed at anything, you're supposed to be working with your Patreons, the people that are closest to you, right?
No, I say this. You're going to succeed regardless whether who around you invests in whatever you invest in. That's my perception. My perception ain't, I'm not relying on somebody to believe in my product.
Yeah.
I'm going to know that what I produce is going to sell, and I'm not going to have to sell it.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely agree with that. The only thing as I'm saying is that, like, if you KFC and you got your new chicken recipe, now, you know, when you're in the kitchen,
what happens with KFC is they create a product, they market that product, and then because they know that product is going to sell, they go out and mass produce it and put it in their store. They know that there's going to be some collateral losses behind that, but there's something behind these corporations that they use algorithms and different predictive factors to create their product, to mass produce it in a way that they know they're going to be successful all the time. We don't have access to that type of technology. But we have access to the spirit. And that's going to have to be our operating force.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Putting the effort in, putting the energy in, going outside the boundaries, you know. Yeah, man, definitely.
I mean, everybody's different, man. That's what I learned anything about this. Everybody's different.
But we have a common ground, man. We gotta find the common ground. Something that benefits. That's something that benefits everybody, you know.
The law of attraction is going to bring you to the people who believe and agree with what you believe in. And you got to start trying to prove people believe in what you want to believe in. I wouldn't even talk about my product if I was you. I'll rely completely on my mind, and I'll be asking God, draw through the people that would believe in my product as opposed to put me in positions to I got to convince them. And that's the difference between, when you talk about scripture, it's the metaphor of casting your soil on right seed. You don't want to waste your time casting your seed on hard soil. Some soil you got to chill and go, and then go through all this other stuff just to get it ready. Who got the time to that? That's like me. I can't talk to every single person who want a super sophisticated graphic for one shirt. I'm going to talk to the person who got simple graphics who want to order hundreds. I don't want to do all that work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want to waste your time talking to people trying to convince them. That's like the cat that Dish Network that be hanging out in Walmart. You know, they're just hoping they catch up. They're just fishing. I don't like to fish. I like to know when I throw my hook in this damn wire, I've been out here for 2 hours. I need to fucking catch something.
I feel you.
I'm not gonna be out there just fishing. I need to know, is this bait down here? You know, that's like me going to buying a vendor's group and going to a trade. There's buyers out here, you know, buyers. I'm not gonna buy all this thing. I'm not gonna buy all this or these worms and shit, and then come out here and not bite, not hook nothing.
I feel that. Optimize your time, man.
Hell yeah, it's energy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Energy, you could be the energy that you, the same force of energy and creativity you're trying to convince somebody. You can use the same creative energy just all into people too.
Yeah,
it's all about transmitting and receiving. You can transmit the thought of attracting people, but you can also be ready to admit and draw in admissions.
Yes, sir.
And that's when I started getting into spiritual alchemy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with, I agree with that. I called it trap marketing, where that's what I've been using for the flood business. But my philosophy is to draw the crowd towards you,
Yeah.
So
I mean, listen, I don't got no necessarily business plan for what I do. I just necessarily be ready to receive. Business is coming. I start practicing thinking of what I want to attract as far as business goes, and keep it moving. And thought, I'll get to the point where I start feeling ways, where I have my own product. But that tech run, that sounds like where everybody be at.
The what?
I'm gonna try to get on that.
Oh, Patreon?
Yeah, Patreon.
Oh yeah. I'm when we hang up, I'm gonna send you a link. And if you got any questions, just call me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that's the system. I'll be your first Patreon. I can help you get set up, and we just perpetuate the system to the next person. You know what I mean? And help you get set up with somebody else. And the more people we teach the system to, I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So we all say we dedicate $8 a month, and out of that, we'll make $18 a month. See what I'm saying? So per person though. So that's per individual, at least. So you can make more, because every time someone increases their following, of course you get.
My thing is, that could be a car or a ticket that you have. But I guess I gotta look at it.
Yeah, I'm sending it to you now. Watch. It's real simple. When you see my page, it's gonna make sense, because you already got to come up with what you're gonna give to people. So all we have to do is create three income levels, and then so when I set you up, I just go to your page and I contribute to the $3 income level, and that's how I support you. And then you will go to my page.
Here's the thing, bro. What type of prompts are you providing? I mean, what type of content am I investing in this? Am I just investing in it to kind of keep turning over money? That's where you kind of lose people. Like,
you're gonna have to, once you get your. All right, so you can go to Patreon and set up your own page right now. You don't need me, right? But but the thing is now you got to figure out how you're going to get 300 Patreons to pay you. I mean,
I won't. It costs money to set the page.
No, the Patreon. No, it's free to get your page. But the objective is your supporters are paying you a little bit of money a month to help you be able to focus on your artwork. Okay. So the site is designed for artists to get paid.
No, but you could also actually go in and say, hey, I got great content. This is where my selling point.
This is what?
This is my selling point. Like, I'm not just trying to get people to log on and, you know, so you can, you know, perpetuate the system.
No,
because don't they get some money out of that?
No, they're not gonna get no. If they just do it normal, then nobody making money other than you. Okay, so normally you would have to convince somebody to give you $3 a month, and then your objective is to get 1,000 people.
But what if they love your content? You ain't got to convince them.
You don't have to. You don't. Well, it's the Patreon is for them. A Patreon is a person who is paying you, who's supporting you through paying. That's what,
right. So, say for example, I know this station on there called Black Mac. In order for me to get better videos and more deeper content, I gotta pay $1 a month, $3 a month. But if you believe in black business and you believe in that product, you can go ahead that's $3 a month. You know, you're gonna sign up, and then you have access to all this great content.
Yes.
You know, you can look at, you know, that's where your selling point is. You're trying to sell the actual program of networks with people. You can't do it like that. You find people who even believe in that part of it.
That's the thing is that
it's
the same. It's the same thing. I just came up with a marketing strategy to expedite the process. You can still do it the old way, but it's hard. I see my man. He got a group of 14,000 people, right? 14,000 black men, travel group. He started a Patreon page, and he ended up getting about 32 guys out of that group to actually become paying Patreons. And he was making about $300 a month. So maybe it was a little bit more than 30 guys, but it was like I said, it takes work to get up to 1,000 people now. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is if I come to you and I say I got a way that you can double your profit on every Patreon, and you can actually have that person get paid too. So not only am I giving you money, I'm starting out by saying I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna pay you first, right? I'm gonna get you set up. I'm gonna pay you $3. Just pay me $6, right? And then I'm gonna help you get somebody to pay you $6 too. That's it. And then that's where it stops. But that allows everybody to generate $18 a month from a $8 investment. Okay, so the concept is a biblical concept, which is double your profit. That's the moral of the story of the man with the 3 talents, the 3 guys with the talents. So what I'm saying is in the kingdom, you're supposed to be thinking every day about doubling your profit. So we have a system where if you give 3, giving is a principle of manifestation too. Give so that you can receive. So we start out with giving, and we're going to receive double in return. Then we mentor. So we make sure that the person we got involved is not, look, you got a question like, hey, bro, Rondell, how do I set this up? I'm here. That's my service to you. Is I'm a technical support for you. You know what I mean? And not only that, if you got somebody like, hey man, you know, tell me more about it, or who else you know in this business, you got another person that is a support for you. You know what I mean? So it's not really multi-level marketing, but it is a strategy to create a win-win for whoever gets involved with you, and it allows you to grow your following and your support, because people will support you on the outside if they see you supporting 50 different people, and you got 50 different people supporting you. That's way more attractive. You know what I mean? You're gonna start really getting just outside donors. You know.
But man, you know, you're distorting the whole purpose of that platform being for art.
It's still art. Because if you, I sent you my link.
I think you're looking at it from a business standpoint. I'm looking at it from.
No, it's.
I don't want to work that way. I want to create a product.
Yeah, I understand.
That people are gonna want.
Hey,
regardless, and they're gonna willing to pay for it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
cool. And then from that, I can build my network of followers based on a product. But I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I just wouldn't
want to do it that way.
I wouldn't want to do. I wouldn't want to have to go out and sell to people.
But
I wouldn't want to have to convince. Like you talking to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out and have to convince that to nobody. I want them to just say, "Hey, I want to be a part of that." Boom.
But you already said that though. I'm only just explaining it more in deep. But you said you were interested in the Patreon, right? So all I did was get you hip to thinking about creating on Patreon, and then I'm telling you that you're gonna need followers. You're not gonna make any money on Patreon if you don't have people paying you a monthly subscription. So what I'm saying is, okay, how do you convince somebody quickly? You got to create the win-win for them. But if you look at my page, I just sent you the address. The first thing comes up was the content that I created. I created a little vlog, a little documentary video, right, on Rio de Janeiro. So the videos and the content that I'm creating, yeah, that is a value within itself, and people can support that if they want, just out of the kindness of their heart. But I'm just saying that we have a marketing strategy to make more people kind of like interested in it, you know.
I mean, you know, it's.
But it is kind of.
Look at it like, you know, like a full.
Yeah, my wife said the same thing you said though. You know, that's why I said I believe that it's just counterintuitive for us in our culture that we're gonna be, you're gonna have to get a, you know what I mean? It's just, we're not designed to really talk about money, man. That's one thing I've learned, man. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen nobody convince a bunch of African Americans to invest in a common thing, you know.
I mean, we're going from what is it, Momentous?
Yeah, Momentous. He did well because people were getting $1,000 like in a week. Remember? So, you know, he had some success, but it wasn't long. I mean, it didn't last more than a year. So,
how much money did he make though?
Probably made about, man, that man probably made 100 grand, because I know Mike Benoit made about 50, 60 grand. I seen it in his account myself with my own two eyes. So they was making a killing, you know. And that's the thing with the internet. It's about taking advantage of what's hot right now. It's like right now, Bitcoin. So, you know what I mean? People, cryptocurrency is, if people ain't on cryptocurrency, they missing out, you know. But you got to think about it. Is now it's $10,000 a coin. Where you gonna get 10 grand from now? You know, it used to be $1, so it could have made a lot of folk rich. But we gotta be able to talk the money first. We gotta discuss. We gotta be like the Jewish people. That's what the Bible's saying, man. The Bible's saying if you don't give to the storehouse, you ain't gonna have nothing to give. Everybody gonna starve. So right now, our culture is about save yourself. Salvation is saving yourself, man. I don't think you're gonna save the tribe. We're misprogrammed.
Well, I mean, you can't talk about we. You can only talk about you.
Well, I'm talking about
when the mind is ready. When the mind is ready, people gonna wake up or they gonna be asleep.
Yeah,
You know?
well, I'm saying if
I then got out of the responsibility of trying to wake people up.
Yeah.
You know, that's too much work.
Well, that's what I was just saying. It's an individual thing. It's not. It's no more like you said. It's no more we. When I said we, I mean like black people. You know what I mean? There is no black people are not going to operate as a unit. We're not programmed to do that.
I mean, if you believe that, then that's how it's going to be.
No, it's
but
not.
If you say to yourself, I'm going to connect with a great group of people, the right people that I need, then the universe is going to bring you that. I don't think about the have-nots and the would-nots and, you know, and where people at. That's old stuff to me.
Okay.
Because I can't control that. I don't worry about nothing I can't control. You're wasting your thoughts. You're wasting your creative energy. I'd rather think, well, I'm going to attract the right people this week that's going to help me build my business. That's what I'm going to attract. That's what I'm going to bring forth in this reality. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about manifestation. It's manifesting my reality, not this perception of reality that I see in the media, that I see on TV, that I may be seeing played out in somebody else's life that's not my own. I have no control over. If I'm paying so much attention to what they're doing, I'm giving their situation power in my life. Also, you know Odu Wallaby?
I heard that name before.
I mean, he looks like a, real conscious brother. You know, he talk about what's going on in the streets and all that. And I'm like, but if you focus your energy on all the negativity that's going on in the street, you only become that. You got to change your reality by changing how you see the street. If all you focus on the death of the street, then that's all it's going to be. If you focus on, what's about to be annihilated, this, that, and the other, that might be your reality.
Yeah, I see that principle. I get the principle. I was just saying that I've been actually working in the community since 2002. So I started out at Brittany Hills working at the Civic Association. I ran a black radio station. I had a black art gallery, you know what I'm saying, where, you know what I'm saying? So I put in the work of working in the community in my own way, in my own experience. And people tell me certain realities, and like I said, I worked in many different things, even the dollar programs, like trying to get people like, hey, bro, we can do something positive. We can and we can generate income if we just all just invested $2 together, and you constantly get from that community, a certain response. So, like I said, I agree with you. You don't surrender to the negative. You don't surrender or quit. But I think that, I don't know, I just personally think that as you get older, you get a little bit more wiser, and it balances out your ambition a little bit. I don't know if it's good or bad, But that's
the thing you got to know. You have to know.
Well, I think, like I said, people call things good and evil, when I don't believe that things are evil and good. I think it's just, like you said, energy, negative, positive energy. So,
right. So, let's say, for example, let's wipe away the situation and just look at positive and negative. What are you focusing your energy on?
Well, I'm focusing my energy on creating the content. And like you said, playing a numbers game, associating with people who are like-minded, and trying to produce a result, a common benefit, And it's a challenge. And so, but as like that's what I was telling Chance earlier, though, is the pursuit in itself is an experience. It's like, so like I said, like
I mean, but as you mature, you know, you don't want to use any of your energy in vain.
exactly. That's what I said. Now, like you said too, it's not about mass exodus anymore. It's about personal. It's about rapture, personal salvation. I mean, in order to get salvation, you're supposed to reach out to others. I mean, you can't sit behind enemy lines and be just selfish and be glad that you spared and everybody else failed. So you got to reach out. But just like in the moral of the story of Noah's Ark, Noah built his ark, but he couldn't save. Everybody laughed at him. He couldn't save a soul, but himself and his family. You see what I'm saying? And the same thing with Lot and his wife. Lot couldn't even save his wife. You see what I'm saying? But he was able to save, you know, at least himself and his daughters. So the point I'm trying to say is that those are allegories to tell us about society now. Even Christ said you can't be a prophet in your own hometown. You see what I'm saying? People just won't buy into what you're saying. You know what I mean? You have to go out to where you're exotic and your story is credible to people. You know what I mean? And so that's what you're saying. You're saying don't succumb to the fact that, you know, you feel like you can't depend on your community. I feel like now it's you got to go outside that comfort zone. You got to go into other communities and other people to get the initial startup. And then once you become successful, now your people in your community be like, oh, okay, I see. And then now people start rolling in, you know. Even Barack Obama did that. God bless you if that was a sneeze. But Barack Obama in the beginning of his campaign, he didn't have black support. You know, I remember even Jesse Jackson called him a nigga on TV. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't getting black support until after he won Iowa. You know.
Jesse Jackson called him a nigga?
Yeah, he called him a nigga on TV. He thought his mic was off. And he said something.
That nigga is special.
Huh?
What he said?
He said something like they ain't gonna never let that nigga be a president or something like that. I don't know. They just caught him slipping. They caught him on the mic slipping. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you, bro. Like, it sounds like I hear what you're saying. That's what I was kind of asking earlier. What has your personal development led you here in your 40th year? And it seems like you have become more, you know, aware and sensitive to the messaging, whether it's positive, negative, progressive, or regressive. So, and getting into being traction, and rather than, you know, hunting things down and stuff like that. So
right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all. That's all positive. So we can see if we can get up for a face-to-face broadcast, and we can talk about really what, you know. I'll just have you be the feature. I run these things just like trying to get into, just like I did at the studio at Talktainment, where you know, it's an interview type thing, interviewing interesting people, and so we'll just divulge a little bit into art, and like you said, the spirit element beyond that, just like we did at the gallery, breaking down maybe if you got a piece of art. I'm gonna send you this demo here so you can see kind of like how I got my setup, and I think you'll feel it, because it's kind of like the same type of vibe we had at the gallery. And then we can just invite some guests. We can have, I think, up to 10 guests here on video, and we can do like a virtual virtual open mic and see how that goes.
Okay, yeah, that sounds kind of innovative.
Yeah, and we'll do it. We'll do it at we'll just say like Sundays seem like a time everybody's kind of winding down. You know what I mean? People boycotting the NFL this year. So we probably get on Sundays. I think Sundays at between about 8:30 and 9, we should be able to get started. Probably have like about an hour discussion. People can watch it on their TVs, just sit back, chill, relax, get a glass of wine, and have some. It's a show,
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, we can create like a whole ambiance, soft music, somebody painting in the background. You know, we got a little wine glass set up. We can create the whole environment now on video.
Yeah. The Lighthouse, but online. The Lighthouse online, man. Yep.
And that way we can really lock it down.
Yeah.
Lock down the idea.
Yep. You can even have some seats in the background. Have some people, some like where they have on like on the shows where they have live guests. So it depends how you got
this. Paint tips.
Wait till I send you this broadcast. I could have been sent it to you, I guess. Laptop. I know you already got your little business center set up over there.
About the paint and sip while we had the Lighthouse, that would have been crazy.
I think we was kind of coming up with stuff like that, but the thing is marketing, getting people to it. You know, that was the challenge. It's like, because we can't expect the same people to come every week. That's the thing. You know what I mean? So
it takes time.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't really fully utilizing the internet like person.
No.
Because we got them all from Facebook. I mean, and remember, John Gibson was coming there before he was going to Reservoir, I think.
Yeah.
Or, during the time. If we probably would have kept going, it probably would have, grew into something. But we just needed to add more product, I think. And the paint and sip would have been an easy way to keep money coming in. Because that space down there, you can be having like 2 classes. Oh man, that would have been great.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that we got from the gallery is that people are really interested in the discussion, having the group discussions. But they need that narrated. They want to talk about relationships. They want to talk about what's going on in the world, and they want the freedom to talk about it artistically and talk about it without the judgment. And
let's do it, man. I think we can do this to get it.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking for a space.
Where at?
And now we got different resources that we can bring to the table. Not just art. We can have the art. We can still sell art. Or that be the gallery portion. We're gonna still focus on that, but T-shirts, apparel, the live TV, the internet access, the poetry, the network. Was it Petron?
Yeah, Patreon.
Patreon.
If I get up to like 1,500, if I get up to about 1,000, 1,500, I would I would definitely get a gallery, man. Well, it'll be more of a cultural center, man. It'll be a multi-use place, display art, have functions in there, office space. So yeah, I can definitely, I'll definitely dig it. I mean, I know that when we did it at the Lighthouse, that just shows what's possible. It's possible. It's just a decision. You know what I mean? Is it something that you really want to do? If yes, you just go find the spot and just ask the person how much they want for rent. Give them a deposit, sign up, and start moving in. That was how easy it was. So the thing is the business plan. Like you said, we didn't. You got to have something going on it. So you got apparel, and that's now a tangible product and service.
Oh man. Man, if you had if that space was available, like what I got in my mind right now, oh man, it's a blow.
Yep. So let's organize, man. We'll get ready.
Yeah, let's organize, man. Let's get that space, man.
So we'll plan for Sunday. We'll set up the event, then we can invite some people to it and just promote it for we'll get started between 8:30 and 9 on Sunday.
Man, this is gonna blow, bro.
All right. And I sent you the link to the Patreon already. And so you can
text it to me?
Yeah, I texted to you. And then next I'm gonna text you this video. Actually, I think I'm gonna put it on Patreon so you can see it on Patreon. And this video, so you can see, a little bit of what we're doing. The only difference is the next time you would be, like, every time you start speaking, your picture would, you know what I'm saying, your video would pop up. But because this is just audio right now, it's just gonna be me. So, but the more we, of course, I'm getting more familiar with this, man. We able to allow people to chat and ask questions, and they can even call in if they want. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to get it all set up, and I'm telling you, brother, I think we got something that we can really build on here.
Oh yeah. Now I see it. I see a bigger picture here.
Yes, sir.
Well, definitely Sunday, man. Make sure you hit me up. All
right. I'll see the link now, and you got the Patreon at your text.
Where you sending the link to though? Facebook?
Nah, it's on your text messaging. Your 962. Yeah, it should be there already. I sent it like 20 minutes ago.
All right, I'm gonna check it out.
All right, let me know what you think.
All right.
All right, peace.